Hello and welcome back to another episode of Steele My Story. This week we have on a very special guest, Rob from Vanderpump Robs podcast. I've been on there a couple times, so you may have seen some episodes already, but you can go on over and check him out. It's a podcast about Vanderpump Rules, of course, and now has moved into more reality TV, so you can check it out. We've got some interesting stories, some vulnerable relationship scandal stories, and some wild Vegas stories. So keep watching to hear more, or keep listening to hear more.
Stealing Story. Can you steal my story?
Welcome back to another episode of Steele My Story, the podcast where we bring on a guest to tell one true story and one stolen story. I'm your host, Alexa Steele. Get it? It's my name. Ha ha. And this is my wonderful co-host.
I like that. I imagine that joke bombs every single time.
I'm sure it bombs every time. And I'm sure it gets worse every single time I say it. But you better believe I'm going to say it every single time. Dad jokes. Love them. My wonderful co-host, Ian Fisher. And a very special guest today, Rob from Vanderpump Robs. Woo!
Hello. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, it's been a dream since I was a young lad to come on this podcast. And before I even knew it existed.
Before its conception, you were already dreaming about it.
Yes, it's been great. But I feel like, you've come on my podcast a couple of times now, and we've got a good rapport. So why not bring me over here? We'll share some stories. It'll be great.
Some stories. Maybe I'll introduce you to some fun stuff like lying. You've introduced me to some fun stuff like reality TV. Like
there's never any lying on at all.
No, never. They always tell the truth.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
If you guys have horrible rapport today, there's only one thing that's different. I don't want to say what it is, but he's wearing a hat. I guess we're both wearing hats. He's wearing it. No, it's clearly me. That's what I'm trying to say. For audio listeners, everyone's wearing a hat. Alexa's in a Monopoly-like hat.
Thank you. I should wear a top hat.
Yeah. And a monocle. And it'd be important.
And nobody comment on it. It's just completely normal.
Yeah, we're for sure
just
not
completely
lying.
normal. Now when we make the social clip of this moment, it'll be like a cartoon monocle coming onto your face. You've got that team, right? They can do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, somewhere in the back. Hey, Jeremy, do you mind?
Yeah.
That's where all the budget goes. CGIing hats.
Sorry, excuse me. Alrighty. So, before we begin, do you feel that you're a good liar?
Dangerous question.
Uh-oh.
Well, when I went to university, it was for theater and film. And so I feel like if I say I'm a good actor, is that better than saying I'm a good actor? First of all, I wasn't a good actor, but I feel like I have the ability to compensate if it comes to a lie, the confidence with the believability. You say something enough,
sell it
becomes So I think I can sell a lie in a way, but I try not to lie. I mean, that's probably what everyone says, right? If I can, I think I found most of the times in my life that lying is like a last ditch effort, right? Most things are, I would even say lying by omission and avoiding conversations, it makes life even harder. But I can do it, and I did it very well for quite some time.
If you get home at 11 at night and your partner's like, "Where were you?" You just don't answer instead of lying. Just go right up the stairs to bed.
Look, honey, we could talk about this till the cows come home, but don't we both just want to sleep? But the big thing is that yes, I think to answer your question, I think I can get away with it pretty well, but I try not to.
Okay, so he has the power to lie well, but he chooses not to use it for good.
Has watching so much reality TV, do you think, made you like better at that, or better if you can tell when someone's lying?
I think that second is like I can more tell when someone's like lying or bullshitting me because they really give you too much information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're don't protest too much. Yeah. There's not enough going on here that I need. That's too much info. I would have just believed you if you said you went to the mall instead of the car dealership. I had no reason to think you were lying.
That's good that we should steal that, like learn from him and his 10,000 hours of watching that. Because I'm like, are we getting any better at telling when people are lying?
I'm not. I'm like so absorbed into the stories that I forget that one of them is a lie. And this is my podcast. I created this concept and I forget it all the time.
Well, if I may, real quick, you make a really good point and a really good question there, Ian, because I've been watching this show called Southern Charm, which is not Southern Hospitality, which is what we covered.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was okay.
It's a spinoff, but one is the spinoff of the other. The listeners,
it's in the Southern universe.
Yeah, but there's one guy named Craig on the show who over the years has been like, I'm just really good at lying. I'm just so good at lying. So that like this season, he'll like say something really personal, but like me as a viewer, I'm like, but how am I supposed to believe this? Like, how am I supposed to believe that you're like struggling with addiction or whatever it may be? Like a really personal thing when it's like every single other time you've had a hard life problem, you've admitted that you were just lying to get out of a situation.
No,
it's Chicken Little.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's the
so
truth.
It'll bite you. You
He's
know,
been crying wolf one too many times.
One too many times. Yes.
Also, Southern multiverse. I wanted to say that.
Yes. I'm ready. I think we need it. It's the change the reality TV show world needs.
Yeah, we need it less educated, and more trashy.
More lies.
Not the shit on everyone in the South, but Southern listeners, you know what we're talking about.
They're not doing too good for themselves on that show. So we'll put it out there.
Show. Yeah, the show does not highlight too many good qualities.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So today, are you now more self-conscious about the stories you're about to tell us that you're like, oh God, I told them if there's a lot of details, that's a tell that it's a lie. Are you going to now lean it out? Or have we screwed you by even like...
too into it.
I think that like, I'm always going to be like a little self-conscious. That's just... I'm too meticulous. Like outlines for my podcast episodes are way longer than any of the stuff I end up actually covering. So I like when I'll get into the editor, when my editor Jamie will get in and be like, "Do you mind if I trim this down about 10 minutes?" I'm like, yes, that's fine. So like between everything that I've presented today, I've even like written like I'm like looking at like both things I want to tell you about, and I'm just like, is that necessary? So like, even when I'm telling the truth, I'm probably too verbose.
Okay, unless that's now I'm self-conscious. I'm analyzing anything. I'm like, unless that.
Ooh, you never know. When did this begin? When did the lies begin? It's what everyone's wondering.
Exactly. You're like the guy on the Southern Hospitality show or the other one who always says I'm gonna lie this time. Now you're like, hey, no, I always talk like this.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. We'll find out.
All right. Alrighty. Are you ready to tell us your first story? Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And here's the thing. If you're ready for it, I'm ready to just dive right in.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm always ready. Woo!
I have recently been to Las Vegas.
Nice.
Okay. And
Ooh.
I'm not like a huge gambler or like even a huge partier anymore. But the thing is, like, any previous time I've been to Las Vegas was traveling. Like when we moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, it was like, oh, well, we'll make a pit stop in Vegas. We'll spend a day there. It'll be kind of fun. Or like I remember my first time being there was we had like a layover with my dad. I was like 14 years old, and it was like a 3-hour layover. And he's like, let's just go ride a roller coaster at the New York casino, and then drove back to the airport. Anything else was like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is wild. But then the last time I had been there was when I was producing a podcast, a Star Trek podcast that had a live show at like the Hard Rock. So I was always like little bits, like I couldn't like soak it up, right?
Right.
But this time we were like, you know what? We're going to drop off our dog at a local like ranch daycare so that he can have space and stay and enjoy a couple of nights with a dog trainer. We can have a couple of nights. You know, Vegas is only a few hours away from where I live now. And it turns out that a friend of mine who I met through doing the podcast, who was on a show called Vanderpump Villa, is now like a manager of, he's in hospitality all over the place in Vegas, but his current job is the manager of the Netflix restaurant that just opened there called Netflix
restaurant.
Yeah, it's called Netflix Bites. And I was like, well, I gotta check this out. And he's like, well, I've worked all over the place, so let me know when you're visiting. But anyway, we kicked things off at a restaurant though called Best Friend, which is a Roy Choi restaurant. It's amazing. Roy even stopped by our table and said hello, which felt unreal.
Cool.
I've never.
He does that to every single customer,
before.
though. It takes him hours. It just shakes everyone's hand at every single.
I think there must have been something else going on, like a high roller wedding anniversary or something, and he just happened to be there for that. But hey, he came by my table, and I am taking it.
That's a 10 out of 10 Yelp review.
Yeah,
exactly.
If Gordon Ramsay's flipping burgers at the Ramsay Burger Spot, I'm like, what?
He's probably not, though. He's definitely not when we went there. No.
And not for nothing, this restaurant was right across the way from the Gaga Museum. So I got to see Gaga's like meat dress and everything as well.
The meat dress. Is it rotting?
You know what? I think they sprayed it with a little preservatives. So
okay,
it
that makes
still
sense.
looks as fresh and red as the day she was dripping. Anyway, that
Gaga already has a museum.
Anyway.
She's like 37. How old is she? She's
well,
like 38.
I think
She's
it's I wonder if it's like promo for the new album
Right.
that came out. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Because that'd be like being in the Hall of Fame while still like playing in the NBA or something.
Maybe it was just a pop-up museum.
You're like, wow, that's amazing success already. Okay.
Okay, back to it.
Well, I mean, I will not. I have no idea Gaga's career trajectory. All I know is she's more successful than me for some reason. So anyway, afterwards, I ended up calling my friend Steven, who I mentioned before, and he's like, you have to meet me at this place called Super Frico, which I was like, is he pulling my leg? And then I forgot I was in Vegas. So that is the name of a club. And
amazing.
we walked in, and like the first well, I should say, he's like, I'm on my way. My name's at the thing. Say you're with me. And the person's like, I don't know who that is. So we're like, okay, we'll wait. And then it turns out I just talked to like the wrong host. Like it was with someone else. But when we walked in, it was like, I don't know if you've all been to Disney, but there's the Haunted Mansion. Of course, they've made movies about this and stuff. When you walk into this club, it like looks like you're at the first phase of the Haunted Mansion ride, where it's like a trapezoid or something around you. And he brought us into this, I guess you could go into various doors. It's very surreal. But the place we got let into was like a speakeasy place that looked like a 1980s ski lodge.
Whoa.
Where, like, the servers were all in like the zip up slick, like neon colored outfits.
Cool.
And like, I don't drink, but so I got some like ginger mocktails. It was kind of cool. My girlfriend and Steven got some like espresso martinis. And then they brought over, because we were with Steven, like s'mores for the table, which I was like, I've heard of pancakes for the table, but s'mores for the table. Let's do this, where you could actually roast the s'mores on a little like fire pit. That's it was all safe. Don't worry.
Was it really air conditioned in there? Because you think Las Vegas is so hot.
Yeah.
Like, did it feel
It was good because at this point in time we were in like just coming out of winter, so no winds took out my fire,
right?
Metaphorically or physically, and but I do have to say the person who delivered the s'mores made a comment about woke Star Wars for some reason. And I was like, well, that's okay.
Whoa, you just didn't need to say that.
All right. I don't know what to say to that.
They made Darth Vader black?
I don't know. Apparently they were reading some sort of daily news that I had no idea what they were talking about.
They read a
and
bad
also
Facebook
didn't want to
post.
comment on.
All the stormtroopers should be white.
Yeah. And then
okay, man.
But everyone else was very nice, super great. We ended up getting a tour of this place, which was much bigger than I thought. We walked in this one area where there was like a drag queen that was also a cow, like that was part of the makeup. And
interesting.
Dressed like a 50s diner waitress, but wasn't actually serving anyone, just walking around
was just
like
chilling.
that.
She was just there.
Yep.
It was
trying
the
to
art.
I remember specifically, she said she was trying to make the moolah. And I was like, oh, I get it. And then as you like the dad jokes, and that's what they were given. They were serving them up at Super Freako.
Not a James Brown museum, funny enough.
we were going through this place, and then we realized, oh, this is like dinner and a show, because someone who looked like they were straight from the movie Challengers, she like walked out in a tennis outfit and all the lights go down, and then she starts doing like a choreographed dance on people's dinner tables and around it. It was, I mean, I wouldn't want to have been slurping my soup and watching this, but it was a hell of a performance.
I'm sure it was, but I would not want to be one of the people who she was like dancing on the table, because what if I'm trying to eat some soup?
Your s'mores are just
sloshing it everywhere.
Yeah. And then if you thought that was potentially uncomfortable, now look, I have to give talent to the performer because they were good, but yeah, the sloshing at the table, you never know what's going to happen. We walked into another room where a woman in a like buff security guard outfit starts coming out and slamming like a flashlight in people's faces and harassing them while they were eating in a very more like aggressive way. And everyone was kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And they were very funny, but then someone from Kansas, because where are you from, sir? You know, got a little too into playing along with the security guard. And then it was kind of like, oh, wait, let's get out of the, this person's trying to steal the show.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So Steven took us to this very special room behind a mirror. Like they're like, we didn't even know this room existed until we were doing renovations on the space. And it's the sort of room that when you walk in, it looks like a library themed escape room. Cool. You know, like tchotchkes all over the wall, big old paintings with frames. I mean, this room was small, like maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, like a bedroom, right? But it had like a spiral staircase up to a tiny loft, a bathtub in the middle of it, a long dinner table. Like it was cramped, but it was unique and looked really cool. And we were told that you can only use this room if you spend like $3,000 to use it. So it's like a wedding party. Like the groomsmen will go in there and have a meal, and you know, Sting will use it when
Sting was there the other day.
Has a green room need, you know. And then yeah,
you just got in there for free.
It was great. I mean, we got to like walk in for free.
Okay. You didn't sit down.
Yeah. And then, you know, after a few other places, you know, we went by some new restaurants and whatnot. And then we were like, how do we even top this? My girlfriend and I are like, how do we, you know,
top all those performances?
Yeah. This is like day one in Vegas of our like 2.5 day trip. So the next day we're like, let's walk to the Luxor, which is like the pyramid shaped one.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, Carrot Top is performing live.
Every night, baby.
Yeah. So we bought tickets to Carrot Top.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And let me tell you, I may not have laughed that much during Carrot Top, but I kind of respect someone who's like, this is what I got popular doing, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
He found his thing.
He found his thing, and it was like a 3-act play. The first act was like, here's my like props and jokes I did all through the 90s. The second act was like current events, here's some one-liners about the president, making sure to like never choose a side, which I was like, that's very 90s comedian of you. And
are there? They're both crazy. Was he still using props with his current event jokes? Oh yeah. Okay. So he's still
yes. But of course, some people sitting next to us definitely chose a side and made me feel very uncomfortable.
Oh no.
And then the end of his performance was like, this is how I got my start. Like I really loved Gallagher and the Smash, and like, yeah, everyone remembers him for smashing watermelons, but it was so much more than that. And the one thing I will say about Carrot Top was he very much leaned into, he knew he was the butt of the joke, like forever. And I think you kind of got to respect someone that's like, yeah, I was the butt of the joke, but I've been performing for 30 years in Vegas, 6 days a week.
So I'm rich. Gallagher's
rolling in it.
Yeah,
maybe you guys should find a thing too.
And I'll tell you, on our drive home, out of everything we did, I mean, and granted, I'm just giving you a drop in the bucket, but like, we couldn't stop talking about Carrot Top. It was an experience.
You're a Carrot Top fan now.
I know. I mean, I'm wearing this orange
hat. Topper.
Exactly. If there was merch, I would have bought it.
There wasn't even merch? No one's ever bought Carrot Top merch. That's why there's no merch. He's like, we tried for the first few years.
I feel like with the audience that was there, they could have sold out of Carrot Top merch. I will tell you.
That's how he doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
That was basically my time in Vegas when I actually chose to go to Vegas for personal reasons. And I only lost $40. And that's because I don't know how slot machines work. Yeah.
You just put the money in and walked away and you're like, I forgot to pull the shit.
I didn't win.
This slot machine just keeps giving me cigarettes. How do I win money?
To be fair, that's slightly better than you normally get from a slot machine.
Yeah.
In fact, you're getting anything out.
So that was my trip to Vegas.
Trip to Vegas, your first personal non-business trip.
Yeah.
And not a single strip club? What is this?
This
is a lie.
Time.
I don't believe it.
Time.
What hotel did you stay at, Rob?
We stayed at the MGM Signature.
Damn.
The MGM is that the one that now it's the one in the Jamie Foxx betting ads, if you know that? It's like,
I don't know that, but what I do know is that it's like MGM Grand is the one that's like right on the strip. And this is, although it's connected to it, you still have to take some moving walkways to get there.
I think I've stayed there. I think I've lost money in that casino, which can be said about almost any casino in Vegas.
I was just going to say, I'm like, Ian's probably lost money in every casino, and like the Golden Nugget.
The Golden Nugget. I love that place.
I've gone so far the other way just to lose more money in that scene.
Yes. We did go down to the Golden Nugget and Binions at the old
It's
strip.
fun down there, right?
Yeah,
I kind of like it better. It's a little bit more dangerous.
It's kind of got something to it.
It feels like what Vegas, it's
I gotta love a little seediness,
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it's great. Also, famously, the Golden Nugget is where some Vanderpump Rules stars had an affair.
They picked the Nugget? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
The Nugget to do their seedy affair business.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the restaurant in the Caesar's Palace, the Vanderpump restaurant?
Didn't go to the Caesars ones. I did go to Pinky's, which is the one that opened up next to the Flamingo. But that one's only a fairly recent restaurant. And it was very Wicked coded. I'll put that out there. There was like green and pink drinks, and it looked like there was a lot of like clockwork architecture.
Oh.
I thought I was tripping him up, but like you knew right away, naming restaurants very specific.
All right.
If this story didn't happen, he definitely knows his Vegas.
He knows Vegas.
Well,
the Netflix bites. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't even tell you about Netflix bites. Should I tell you a little bit?
I feel like because it feels like they were like Netflix bites sounds like their version of like Postmates or Uber Eats. Like,
yeah.
For a company that invented,
Netflix.
Exactly. They invented getting it right to your house instead of going to the video store. It's hilarious that they're like, hey, but for our restaurant, you got to come in. It's just an old school restaurant.
Here's the thing about Netflix bites. Almost every single menu item has a theme, like for a Netflix show. Like I got the Stranger Wings.
Loving the dad jokes.
There's the Orange is the new mac and cheese.
That one's not even close. Orange is the new mac? I guess so. All right, I forgive it. There was a one-piece sushi, but that didn't have a pun name, but I ordered it.
They just did that because it's Japanese.
Yeah. And Steven sent over the Squid Game challenge appetizer, which is like chicken nuggets they were not like McDonald's. They were like good pieces of chicken.
Okay.
And that you spun the wheel and you landed on a heat level of sauce that you had to like dunk your nugget into. And of course,
not like one's poisoned.
Yeah, I hit the spiciest one on my first go around.
I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't listen to it. Am I gonna die if I don't listen to this thing?
That's what I was told was going to happen.
Okay.
So
they have a sniper in the restaurant ready to just take out.
You're like so scared. You'd think it would be calamari, Squid Game. But what do I know? I'm not going to tell Netflix how to run its restaurant.
Yeah.
No. Plus, I don't eat cephalopods. So
right. Okay. So you would have walked out of Vegas.
I would have walked.
You would have been shot.
Yep, I would have. And that's the risk you take eating Netflix bites.
So it's like a Hard Rock Cafe or Planet Hollywood of 2025, of our streaming era kind of thing.
Actually, I think that's a really good way of putting it because, of course, there's no competition with any other streamer there. And so that
in a few years, Amazon Prime's gonna they're all just a few years behind. Like what happened? That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
What casino did you lose that $40 in?
Oh, which?
Don't say the Golden Nugget. We'll know you're lying.
No. My girlfriend lost money at the Golden Nugget, but I lost money at the Park MGM. So I was walking a little bit further over.
You went to
That's
every
what
MGM.
I was thinking of. The Park MGM.
It's hard. It's difficult. They're like actually walking around the strip. It's they don't make it easy to get to another casino.
No, it's more like a mall, like an outdoor mall, like Las Vegas. It's very guided. As my first time there, I was like, oh, it's escalator city.
Yeah,
like it is very controlled.
Yeah,
I do love the outdoor escalators.
Yes,
like, wow,
it was great.
This is game changing. Love it. We should have these everywhere.
Yeah, I'm surprised people aren't more fit here. It's so weird, all these stairs opportunity. How can we eliminate it to 0 steps per day?
Oh, that person's got a cocktail at 6 a.m. Interesting.
Yeah.
Story number 1, down.
Yes.
And I think we've poked some sufficient holes, or tried to. I don't know if we poked.
Yeah, it's a bit of an enigma. Like he's got cards. He says he's not really a gambler, obviously, because he didn't spend thousands of dollars. But you've got cards behind you, and like there is kind of like the set is kind of designed
not
to maybe
too many
that's a
details, but just enough details.
Yeah, to throw us
I
off.
will say this is a Columbo themed puzzle, by the way.
Columbo the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
They made puzzles where you didn't get to see the picture, and then you read a little story and you solve the mystery through the puzzle.
Oh, I can see it now. The light's hitting it. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But maybe it's all part of my elaborate ruse.
It could be part of the ruse.
It could be part of the ruse
Yes.
to make us believe it's true.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to story number 2. See if we can poke some holes in this one.
I do want to preface that I'm not proud of my actions in aspects of this story. Okay.
Juicy. We love it.
But I have to, we're coming with the facts here. We're trying to do things right. So I told you all that I used to party a lot right? I don't party as much anymore. It's why I didn't go to the strip club in Vegas, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But I am going to tell you a story about when I was in this like podcast collective where we were kind of like helping each other out. This is of course before I joined the Sonar Network, which no seedy business would ever happen on. I cheated on my girlfriend, right?
Whoa!
And it's the only time I'm not a cheater, okay? And it's not my current. This is a
before
previous
girlfriend.
relationship.
Whoa,
okay?
hitting us with the boom.
Rob, you're bringing some heat here, dude. I was not expecting a fastball.
Yeah, we just went 0 to 100
I love
in this story.
It's just hard for me to I've done the work, right? I've done the work. I know that I was the bad person. I just have to like express it, right? And I think that this is the best way. It's how comfortable I feel with this story is that I can bring it to the podcast.
There you go.
Okay,
there you go. He's done the work. He's healed. He's moved. He's bettered himself.
Let's hope. I can tell you this though, that at the time I did justify it, right? I did say it's like, well, it just kind of happened, right?
She was really hot. Baby, you should have seen her.
Oh my God.
I had been in a fairly long-term relationship, and I think we just gotten a little bit comfortable, or you know what? I got a little too comfortable. It wasn't anything she did. Maybe routines were happening, arguments about who's cleaning the cat litter and doing the laundry, just the standard bullshit. It happens. And then I met this other person who was in the collective, and she started off as a friend, famous last words, right? Ooh. I kind of was, drinking a lot at the time, and I would go out with this group of people, but it would always be me and her that ended up like smoking cigarettes together and chatting. And, one night it did cross the line. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not, and I see it looks like I'm not going into details, folks. Okay. I know.
We want to know.
Yeah. We'll just say it crossed the line, right? Okay. And it crossed the line in a like
fingering type
inexcusable
way.
Yes. I will neither confirm nor deny that. But I will say I woke up and things were, I had the hangover guilt, right? I had the real guilt too, but I was very shameful. But I didn't stop. And I was a little long-winded. I'm trying to. It's always, I always want to like justify these things, so I want to give you like every little piece of whatever's happening. But I'll try and keep it as quick as I can. So I would play defense mode, right? Like if anything came up, like, oh, you stopped sharing your location on your phone. It's like, no, I'll turn it back on now. And
Starlink was glitching.
I think I started like feeling more excited about like the strategy of it, as gross as that sounds, than I did. You were
buying into like the, ooh, like this is bad, kind of thing.
Yeah. And the more that it happened, like even though my girlfriend didn't like know what was happening, I did feel like she was spending more time with her friends. And in retrospect, because I obviously wasn't spending time with her, like what the hell else would she do? She would go spend time with her friends. And so I would then justify like, well, she's not hanging out with me. She's watching Love Island with her friends in a marathon all weekend long. So of course she doesn't want to hang out with me. And then I was just trying to find the moment, like how do I actually break this off? Because at the end of the day, if I don't do it, then and she finds out, then like I'm the bad. No matter what, I'm going to be the bad guy, right? Like no matter what,
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah. But if I actually did the deed and broke it off, then I could at least save. Oh, God, I hate telling the story because it's like there's so many like bad things that I did, but like you recognize like how you justify these things to yourself, I would like go to my friend's house and he would like take my phone and then I would go to dinner and hanging out with the other girls so that
your friend's just walking your dog.
Would say my friend's house. And then I also
you're giving people ideas.
I'm sorry. Well, look, it didn't work out for me, folks.
Okay, so it didn't work. So don't get any ideas, anybody out
there. It worked for a while, but then once it started working, I started losing my edge on like actually breaking up with my girlfriend. And okay, look, it's embarrassing to admit that you cheated on someone, but something that might be even more embarrassing is that I had started a cover band at the time.
Oh, no! Of what? Covering who?
Well, like 90s hits.
Oh, like not just like a specific.
Wait, no, it's just Lips of an Angel.
Like we would play
the most obvious like affair songs
for us, that sort of stuff. And of course, I had to be the singer because if I wasn't my own biggest star in my like cheating scandal, I had to like also be the star of the cover band. Like, look, I recognize I sucked. Like, I know.
I got caught up in that cover band rock star lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, you sound like my therapist, but
well, I will be billing you after this podcast at about the same rate. So get ready for a $150 bill coming at you.
And listeners, please just hear me out. I know I did wrong. Don't leave comments. This is still a 5-star review podcast, even if I did bad things. Okay. But I had this show in LA and I kicked my leg up while singing a song, like in a sort of move. Yeah. And my phone fell out of my pocket. And someone handed it to my girlfriend.
Oh my gosh!
And she's not like she was not a nosy person, but she did know my passcode. Like I knew hers, she knew mine.
She was like, "This is the opportunity." So invested.
And I mean, she went on to like say like because of course this resulted in an argument, but.
She was so uptight.
Justified. I get it. I asked her like why she looked at my phone. Of course, defense mode, right?
Well, why are you looking at my
phone? She said it was women's intuition, and look, it was right. Like, say what you will. I mean, she was
How
right.
did you know I was lying?
Could you see her looking at your phone while still singing, like your next song, like just looking down, be watching her just like do this?
It would have been great if I wasn't as self-involved and I could see something was happening. But no, I did see her like get up and go to the bathroom though. And I was like, oh, this feels like in the middle of
My Soul
Love
by
Fool
the best
or whatever
song.
I was singing.
My girl's in the next room. Sometimes I wish it were you.
Anyway, she saw something in a text that, and in the photo album.
Oh, in the photos, hard evidence.
For the sake of all involved,
in the photos.
Hey, look, you know what? It was a bad time for me. But it was there. She breaks up with me immediately outside of the venue we were playing at.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, Netflix bites. The stage at the back.
We did live together, so that was difficult. We kind of had to like an old sitcom, had to paint a line down the house and like,
oh my
essentially,
God,
you got this.
You broke the Columbo picture in half. She took half of the puzzles.
Pretty much. It was just a lot of like scheduling through friends and people to be like, hey, I'm gonna be doing this, recording a podcast or whatever. Do you have the house? It was very complicated for much longer than it needed to be. And I think it's because, quite frankly, I was very stubborn, right? Like I caught in the act. I was defensive.
Didn't want to be the bad guy.
I knew I was, but I didn't. And like, of course, when push came to shove, like I told you I was in that podcast collective. Like, of course, everyone wanted to be like, well, do you guys want to meet? Like, everyone became amateur, detectives and therapists and could like, oh, well, I knew when he was doing this, or, you had no, people tried to be on my side, and even just trying to be my friend would be like villainized. Like it seems more serious than it would to anyone else who actually wasn't a part of it, right? Like,
because they were all podcasters too, they all were like, could we record this conversation? Like,
yes.
It was all a pitch.
Yeah.
And everybody in the content house was trying to get content.
Yeah, like a content house. So yeah.
I was not a fan, but I also was like, well, I do want to look, I couldn't justify my actions, but I did want to express what pushed me to do that. You know what I mean? Even if it was my own. Look, I'm looking back on it now. I didn't express it that way at the time. I was very, very much like, well, she didn't ever want to hang out with me or do anything, and but now I know it's I should have just bit the bullet, and I didn't. I will say she thrived. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm still, well, it'll give away some things, but she's got a very popular show, and I continue to do my podcast about reality TV. and
it is also very popular.
It is, but of course grass is always greener. If I wouldn't have made these mistakes, if I wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't have done that. And the worst part, not the worst part, I really hurt her, and I feel comfortable making light of it now because we have had conversations since then.
Oh, that's
I
good.
did reach out and say some things to her in the meantime. And I feel...
Hey, would you give me a shout out on your podcast?
You.
I know your podcast is doing numbers now. Anyway, you could just tag us at the end.
Well, enough time has passed that as long as I think the unspoken deal is as long as I admit that it is completely my fault and that I am the one who did wrong.
Sounds about right.
I am free to talk about this and without any sort of weirdness. And of course, don't say my name, right? Don't mention me on anything.
Say who it is.
Because of course it's come up on my podcast too. I just don't express the timeline as why would I want to keep villainizing myself? But it was a tough time. But you know what? What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Whoa.
Wait, that's the end of the story?
That's the end of the
I mean, in any sort of breakup, it never quite ends until you've had the closure talk, which we had.
Nice.
And I think it's like I said at the beginning, pretty much me getting everyone going to therapy afterwards, everyone being villainized that were friends with me having to face the music without having, I don't know,
without being the lead singer in this cover band.
Well, let me tell you, the band is suffering at this point. But the end of the it never ends, right? Where do I end? That now she's got a really popular show, and I'm still chugging along with my, it is good, but it's. I forever will live with that mark because I was in content creation.
You were in the content house, whatever those houses are. I forget what they're called.
Hype house, right?
Hype house. That's what it is. Oh my God, you were in a hype house.
I didn't actually live in a hype house, but it was very similar.
It was the golden nugget,
you
all
were
adults.
in a metaphorical hype house.
Yeah. I ruined the hype house. How about that?
You broke up the hype house. Wow,
that's good. That boy, I have no fucking clue because no one's ever done a vulnerable story like that, and then also that's a good. You're a tactician, my friend.
Oh my gosh! So, I mean, I know you said you've mentioned it on other. Now I'm gonna have to go through the whole discography of every episode you've ever done to find it. You need ChatGPT for that or something.
To be fair, this is the first podcast I've actually talked. I've talked about it on Vanderpump Robs, but
like briefly.
This is the first time I'm like bringing it up.
You've left the hype house.
Wow.
To go to a neighbor's hype
We're
house.
going. Well, this is also a therapy podcast, so
yeah.
But we give you bad advice.
People just trauma dump on here, and then we go, ha ha, let's guess if you're lying or not.
Yeah, what's crazy is like, because then we could be like, well, there's no way Rob would tell us this story about having an affair where he's a bad guy. So it's got to be the first story that's true. But at the same time, then it's like, no, maybe that's the twist, maybe is that he's willing to like Eminem 8 Mile himself, tell a vulnerable story. So we're like, that one's so crazy. There's wow.
Wow. Okay. I know. I'm like, but I don't want to believe that about my friend.
But it was a,
he was a different Rob then.
Yeah.
It's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood.
He's in a band.
He's in the hype house.
Did you date that other podcaster, the one who you did? Did you guys ever have a thing after? Or was that did that also the imploding of your relationship kind of be like, okay, both of these women, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna work on myself.
Oh, they both hate me now.
Oh, okay.
You lost it all.
Like they both.
Did that other girl know that you had a girlfriend?
Oh yeah. And,
okay, why is she's a bad person too now?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, a lot of people say that, but I will probably not stand on that because
you can't stand on that. Yeah, but she also is in the wrong.
I will take full blame, even though people make their own choices. Yes. Right. So.
Well, I'm not shifting blame off of you, Rob.
Okay. Yeah.
I am, Rob. This girl was too horned up. Dude, you had your shirt off at those shows. Let me ask you this.
It feels good to laugh again.
This is the first time. You said the story was 4 years ago?
Yeah, just about.
Are you still friends with the guy who would keep your phone at his house and like prod it every few minutes to make it look like you were watching TV?
Yes, but he did give me a lot of shit. It was a struggle to.
He gave you shit. He was in the fucking heist car. He was your getaway driver. I feel like this guy's got to be best man at your wedding while also being like.
Yeah.
Well, he was in on the heist, but I also like every time he would try and be like, I don't really want to do this again. I feel weird about it. You said you were going to break up with her, and now you're asking me to do it again.
Oh, okay.
I kind of played on the like, just be a bro about it.
It was you again. It wasn't like he was like, yeah, dude, I don't care. Fucking go get it. Go to the Golden Nugget. Get the penthouse. I'll be here.
He tried to get me to like stop. Well, everyone thinks he could have tried a little bit harder, but like at the end of the day,
he was being a good friend to you.
Like the friend group crumbling, and his girlfriend was friends with my ex, and so it. Well, sorry, his ex-girlfriend was friend. It just becomes.
It was a little. Wow, lots of layers here.
Yeah,
this is a very multi-layered cake.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well,
it's so funny to try and poke holes in a story like this because it's just like, was she your type? Like, what drew you to want to fuck her?
Shit, I guess I just gotta fucking guess.
What do you think? Like, what does your gut say is true? You got like tears in your eyes.
I don't know. This is such like a vulnerable story, but maybe you want it to be like that, so I believe it.
Well, it's a win-win for him because if we're like, hey, the adultery story is a lie, he's like, I know, I'm a good guy. I would never have an affair. I would never cheat. Then it's like a win. Or the other one is like, hey, the cheating one is true. Then it just shows that he's willing to like go the distance to try and beat us on this pod.
Yeah.
You've positioned yourself well. Like Carrot Top in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, I'm just like Carrot Top,
Yeah.
I just less props,
Less props. Where's your skull? Bring the skull out.
There's a raven behind him for those of people listening only. He's got a skull. He's bringing the skull on camera.
Is the raven a light?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
I got it from Target.
Amazing. I feel like I've seen that light and I was like, should I get that? And now I'm going to get it.
The answer is yes. Me. And when you spin it around, it's a jack-o'-lantern. So it can be just like a creepy thing or a Halloween decoration.
Or,
Two for one.
or
like a big
prop.
skeleton on your roof. It's creepy on October, and then the rest of the year it's just fun.
It's just fine.
I just put a Santa hat on it, then it's a Christmas decoration, and then I put an Easter bunny ears on it, and then
you put a cross behind it.
Yeah, I crucify the skeleton, and then it's a Christian decoration.
Okay.
Anything from the first story you want to bring back? Any doubts that crept into your mind as he went?
Honestly, I'm just gonna say that the cheating story is true. I'm going with my gut.
You are, huh?
Yeah.
You're full on guessing. Okay.
I feel like you are now this Zen individual because you've done work on yourself, but maybe you weren't.
And he said he
like
didn't
that.
drink, like he planted the seed, so it makes sense in the Vegas story. He wouldn't drink because of this.
Does that make that true? They're both true, and you've tricked us.
They're both true. You're just like
I just blow
I'm
off
not
the
playing
podcast.
your fucking
blow up the
game.
pod just to get it out there. You take a nice bow and leave. You know what? I think actually, it's hard. I don't know. I think the first story's. But I do think the first story's a lie. No, but I'm gonna disagree with you.
Okay.
I hope it's the second story is a lie, and he's like, I've never had an affair. I'm still with that girlfriend today.
Damn. Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. Audience, take your guesses. If you're listening, you can say it in your head or maybe say it to the person sitting next to you. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment what your guess is, story 1 or story 2, which one you think is true or false. And now for the big reveal. We're saving money, so there's no sound effect. It's just me.
The story that would you rather hear? Should I see? I'm delaying even further.
This is
I
good.
love it.
It's like a
You want
commercial
to know
break.
which one
You've
is
watched so much
true
reality
or
shows.
which one is stolen?
Give us the stolen one first.
Well, I mean, we're gonna know pretty quick.
Yeah.
After
The stolen story is the cheating scandal,
Oh, no!
and it is stolen from Tom Sandoval of Vanderpump Rules, who had hashtag Scandival. I just changed details to make it sound more like a podcast hype house instead of a reality TV show.
Was that the couple that had an affair at the Golden Nugget?
Well, here's what happened. In early season of Vanderpump Rules, Tom Sandoval cheated on his girlfriend Kristen with Ariana Maddox at the Golden Nugget. And that is a line. And then he's with Ariana for 9 years until season 10, when it comes out that he cheated on Ariana with Rachel Leviss. And that was the huge scandal. And that was where most of the details from my story came from.
Wow. Oh my gosh. He layered in.
It kind of all tied it in.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, sorry, I doubted you.
And listeners,
well, that's okay.
Anybody can go, if you guys are like, how does he know so much about Vanderpump Rules? Rob hosts a podcast called Vanderpump Robs. You can check out if you want to go through. How many episodes have you done now?
I mean, I've been doing the podcast since like 2018. So
yeah, I was going to say over a couple hundred. So
and I cover now that like Vanderpump Rules has been in the zeitgeist for a while. I've just stretched on to do like Southern Hospitality with you, Alexa, and then Southern Charm. I've done Summer House.
I love Summer House.
I try and stick to the millennial based Bravo realities. I don't really like cover Housewives or things like that. I want to see people who like at one point lived like I lived.
Listen to the same cover bands. Exactly.
Yes.
So
did you have a cover band?
No. I didn't.
No.
But I do like that Tom Sandoval go back and listen.
It does.
It still does?
But Tom Sandoval does. It's called Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras.
Oh my God. That is so egotistical right there too.
Yeah, obviously this guy's going to cheat on you. Sorry to whoever. Sorry, girl.
Hey, come listen to my band, Ian Fisher and the three bass players.
She
had a blow up?
She's doing just fine.
Yeah, she owns it, doesn't she?
Yeah, she now hosts Love Island because that was a time her and her friends were watching Love Island and they talked about it during the scandal. And now she's the host of Love Island US, and she was on Broadway, and he's in a cover band. Yep.
Wow.
In your mind, when you were lying the story, did you have the fake podcaster girlfriend who had blown up? In your mind, did you have someone like, as a trained theater school actor, did you have like, in your head, it was Alex Cooper who hosts Call Her Daddy? Or did you have like a world?
Honestly, I was just thinking like, the proxies are Tom, Ariana, and Raquel. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to change their job titles. Right. Okay. So podcast from reality TV star.
Damn,
that sort of thing.
You sold that lie though.
And even though you were wrong on your guess, you got to be a little happy that Rob was not an adulterer.
So there you go. It's still a win.
And still, like, I lied, but the story's stolen. Right. So the story itself was real and believable. Yes. It just wasn't with me.
No, you nailed it. You nailed the premise of this. You took a real story, you made it yours, and you tricked Alexa.
Damn.
And didn't trick me.
What do I win?
Just our admiration.
We'll give you our guy who photoshops the Monopoly stuff into your podcast.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, he works for you now. Pack your bags, Jeremy. You're out of here.
Get the fuck out of here, Jeremy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that you're a good human being. I'll probably never be invited back on the show now, though, after my guess.
Of course, you're welcome back anytime. Ian, you too. It's great.
If you ever need me to hold your phone, if you want to have a future affair, that's a great idea. We could do that. Great. So I'll do that for you.
Great. I like where this is headed.
Forging new bonds here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had a blast. The podcast is called Vanderpump Robs with an S at the end. That's not all one word, Vanderpump Robs. And then, basically I put out a podcast as much as possible. But you can get everything at patreon.com/Vanderpump Robs. That's where full length and ad-free episodes are located. And as I'm sure you both know as podcasters, that's the best way to directly support podcasters, because ads come and go, but audience support is forever.
Forever.
And people can go back and listen to those in real time and listen to you diagnose the affair.
Absolutely.
As it happened.
That is one of my most repeated downloaded episodes is the season 10 coverage of Vanderpump Rules.
Wow.
I bet you even there's really hardcore Vanderpump Rules fans who heard you telling that story today who might have been like, I think this is Raquel.
I wanted to have a little fun. I wanted them to feel good.
Yeah. You guided your audience along. That's why light is falling from the ghosts.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in for another episode of Steele My Story. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, at the Steele My Story podcast, or you can follow me on YouTube, Alexa Rose Steele, and watch full episodes there. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Mwah! Bye.